It's all part of the Nestle Purina KTRS Men's Group Against Cancer Radio-thon all day today. KTRS is donating its broadcast to raise money and awareness for the Men's Group Against Cancer. One of the big sponsors and supporters is Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. And at Cardinal Glennon's Children's Hospital, there's a wing called the Bob Costas Cancer Center. And Mr. Bob Costas joins us now. Bob, welcome back to Big 550 KTRS. I can't hear him.
I say hello, McGraw, for the second time. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Costas. Thank you for joining us, as always. How did you get involved with the Cardinal Glennon to start with?
Going back to the late 80s, Alan Allred, who's a prominent local attorney and someone who's been involved with Cardinal Glennon for a long time, said to me, you know, you do a number of charitable things, as all of us in media, or at least most of us in media and in the sports community in St. Louis have various things that we've done. The late, great Jack Buck kind of showed the way with that. It was amazing. All the worthy causes he was involved in, and many of us tried as best we could to follow in his footsteps. And he said, you know, we just like to have one of those charitable efforts be one that's ongoing, one that you're associated with first and foremost. And so they set it up for me to host an annual event. And some years ago, we took it to the Fox Theater and kind of broadened it out into a big night of entertainment, no speeches, no dais, and, you know, nationally known performers, comedians, and musicians and whatnot, and we've been able to raise a whole lot of money over that period of time for Cardinal Glennon.
And they've done some tremendous work there, haven't they?
Oh, they do. You know, obviously any hospital that cares especially for children is doing good work, but it's one thing to have good intentions. It's another thing to be a cutting-edge research facility, to partner with other facilities around the country in a cooperative effort the way they do, to have the kind of environment they do at Cardinal Glennon where, you know, it's very daunting for a kid and his or her family to be in a hospital situation. But when you walk into that wing of Cardinal Glennon, it doesn't really feel like a hospital. It feels like a place that's kid and family friendly. They have a day hospital there where as much as possible, you know, whether it's chemo or transfusions or whatever, as much as possible they try to do it on an outpatient basis so the kid can remain at home and not miss too much time at school. They try to make it as human a circumstance as possible.
Tell me about this sickle cell treatment facility there as well.
Well, it's part of a cooperative network. There are sickle cell anemia treatment centers all around the country and throughout the Midwest. And so they have partnered with them to try and research new ways to improve the health of children who have sickle cell anemia. The center at Cardinal Glennon provides care for more than 150 children right now with sickle cell anemia. And on an average basis, they tell me that 15 newborns enter the program each year. So again, it's one thing to say, look, we'll care for you. It's another thing to say, you will get state-of-the-art care. And tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, that care will be improved. Whatever the state-of-the-art treatment is, that's what you'll get.
I know you enough to know, Bob, that you've broadcasted everything there is to broadcast. You've met the biggest and the brightest and the most famous, and I suspect every time you walk into the Bob Costas wing of the Cancer Center at Cardinal Glennon Hospital, that humbles you more than anything else you've ever done.
It's a warm feeling and a humbling feeling, and I never say the work we do. It's the work they do. You know, I may make an occasional visit, and I'm able to help them because I'm situated to help them raise money each year with the event at the Fox. But as we speak, and 24/7, 365, there are people there, nurses, doctors, volunteers, that are providing one-on-one, personal, hands-on care to these children and their families. They're the ones who are doing the work.
Isn't it amazing that conversation from the early 1980s has turned into what it has? I mean, you and the people who run the Bob Costas benefit, I mean, how much money have you raised and given to Cardinal Glennon?
Yeah, I honestly don't know the exact figure, but it's well upwards of $10 million.
Yeah, that's not only...
And that's a net figure. Obviously, it costs a little bit more to put on the event that we put on as opposed to something where you just have a dais at a hotel room and you have various speakers and whatnot. Virtually every performer, and we've had some of the biggest names in music and in comedy come over the last 15, 20 years, virtually every one of them does it for nothing. But the bands have costs. You know, if Faith Hill shows up or Paul Simon shows up, they're not charging us, but you have to transport the band, you have to transport the instruments, you have to take people back and forth. There's the cost at the Fox Theater. So there's a gross amount and then there's a net amount.
Right, yeah, but it's an extraordinary, the people who put on the event, it's also extraordinary that the community comes out and every single year supports that.
Yeah, it's usually filled to the brim at the Fox Theater. And one thing we're proud of is that while it's a worthy cause, we give them a night out. It's tremendously entertaining. It's not something where people say, well, it's a good cause, we'll get dressed up and we'll show up and we'll listen to some droning speeches and that'll be the end of it. Obviously, they know why they're there, but that isn't the primary. It's the focus of the evening, but it isn't the primary content of the evening. The primary content is just to enjoy yourself, have a good time, and go to a show that you would go to even if it weren't connected to a charitable cause, because it's just a terrific night of entertainment.
It usually happens in April of every year, correct?
April usually, yeah.
Yeah. Do we know?
I think it's April 21st this coming year. I think.
Do we have any idea?
April 21st is a Saturday. That's what it is.
Okay.
If April 21st isn't a Saturday, it's the closest Saturday to that date. And I assure you that by next April, I will know what the date is so that I don't wander into an empty Fox Theater.
Do we know who is going to be performing?
We do not. We have a wish list, which I will not divulge. Last year we had... who did we have?
You had
Who did we have last year? We had Faith Hill and Conan O'Brien, and
right.
They were both tremendous. We've had Sheryl Crow and Paul Simon, and Leno has done it, and Seinfeld has done it a couple of times, and Bill Murray has done it, and Bill Maher did it in the past. We Cedric the Entertainer, local guy. We've been very, very lucky with the people we've been able to get, and we'll have something at that level again this year.
Did you happen to see Conan O'Brien's graduation speech at Dartmouth University or Dartmouth College last spring?
I didn't see it, but I read some of it. He is tremendous in those situations. I have seen or read a handful of commencement speeches that he's given, and he's just perfect. The college kids relate to him, even though Conan's close to 50 years old. He has a large college following, and he just has perfect pitch for that kind of circumstance.
You should do yourself a favor. It's about 35 minutes online. You can find it, but do yourself a favor. Go find a quiet room, and it is one of the greatest speeches I've ever seen given.
I remember, and I'm roughly paraphrasing, what the opening kind of salvo was. He said, ever since I realized I would have this assignment, I've been thinking about it. And so, in the true spirit of all of you, the night before, I pulled an all-nighter and began working. And I believe that Wikipedia said it best. Dartmouth is an Ivy League school.
Bob Costas, a good friend. Bob, you've been great to me throughout the years. Thank you for giving us a couple of moments, and thank you for all you do for the men's group with the men's group against cancer.
Boy, Bobby Knight should be entertaining, huh?
Bobby Knight?
Especially because no cameras, no videos, no cell phones allowed. Bobby can cut loose.
I also heard that all the chairs are going to be bolted to the ground.
Yeah, have to be.
There you go. Bob, have a good day. Thanks, my friend.
Okay, McGraw. Bye.
You got it. Bob Costas here on the Big 550 KTRS, part of the KTRS Men's Group Against Cancer Radio-thon. And if anybody has ever had an opportunity to see the Bob Costas Cancer Wing at Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, it is, Bob Costas has it exactly right, that Jack Buck all showed us the way. And it's amazing if you're as big as Bob Costas and Joe Buck, or as small as McGraw-Millhaven, when you come into St. Louis, they teach you the right way to do things, and that is to give back to the community. And Bob Costas is still giving back all these years later, even though he is getting ready for the Olympics and the football and everything else he's doing. So Major League Baseball and everything else. So Bob's been a good friend over the years. We thank him for that. And Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, over $10 million that Bob Costas benefit has raised for Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital.